Welcome in, guys. We got a short 4-game card going on today. Injuries. Theme of the NBA right now. Week away from the deadline, couple weeks from the All-Star break. So teams being a little bit more cautious this time of the year. Talk a lot about yesterday's slate. Didn't treat us too kindly. A lot of games, a lot of action. We had Portland. They had the upset of Milwaukee and Damian Lillard's return. Kevin Durant, he goes back to Brooklyn. He gets it done. OKC, Denver without Jokic. They pull it out, don't get the cover. Mavericks, total letdown spot. Miami, they finally stopped the 7-game losing streak. That one hurt us a little bit. Clippers, no Paul George, no problem. Get it done in Washington. Pelicans, no Zion, no problem. Get it done in Houston. And that's pretty much the majority of what we had going on yesterday on the NBA slate. So I don't know if there's anything that caught your eye. This Pelicans team, the weirdest thing to me, it just feels like they win games they shouldn't be. They lose games they should be winning. They're always back and forth on that one.
Yeah, well, they ain't the only team that does that. Matter of fact, LeBron actually just said that. He came out and says he feels they can beat any team, but we can also lose to any team. We'll see if they can beat any team tonight because they've got the best team in the league, the Boston Celtics, a big 12-point favorite. Again, that's due a little bit to the injuries. We'll get there in a little bit. Last night, Miami come out of nowhere after 7 straight losses. Butler had been playing really good for them and continues his good play. And they get a win over the Kings team, who just, I guess, forgot how to shoot the basketball. The Fox just went in the tank. Sabonis is this guy's a walking triple-double. This guy's a little mini Jokic right now. Another huge game for him, but Fox, that's your leading scorer. Has got to get there. Didn't happen with Sacramento. We let that game go as high as it could, 2.5. Thought it was worth the take at that point. Unders, the herder yesterday. Cleveland, Detroit had just played to the under. We're playing under. Cleveland, your number 3 team, just behind Timberwolves and the Knicks as far as points allowed. But that game just soared over. Didn't even have a chance in that game. So the totals kind of knocked us up a little bit. We'll be a little more careful with them. But the one that was the one game that we had our second day in a row. We just beat the hell out of a number. We talked about it. Moved 5 points. The Bull game moved 5.5 points the day before, and we took an L. To losing to Toronto at home. So yesterday we had a total going for us. We had bet 229 on the under. That was the Denver OKC game. And again, a lot of that on the come with the injury possibilities. That game closed 223. So a 6-point beat on the line. And that game really, that's what you call a cigar game. 205 is a total. So we're back at it today. Don't have a bet yet today, and that's because the board is full with question marks. And we're talking big injuries. So why don't we get at it, Ben, and we'll let them know what we know.
Yeah, real quick as always, guys. If you could like, comment, subscribe below. And as John said, a lot of injuries today. So if you guys want to know when those injuries get finalized, different things, and how we react to them, sign up on the app or the website. But yeah, Pacers Knicks starts off the top of this card. Pacers coming off a hard-fought game at Boston. They lost, but they covered. Halliburton, he returned pretty okay. 13 points, 10 assists. Didn't shoot too well. 5-16 in just 22 minutes. Mathurin and McConnell, they're both questionable. Halliburton's questionable. Front end of back-to-back, they get sacked tomorrow. Obviously, a little bit of history there with that Sabonis-Halliburton trade. So we'll see if they rest Halliburton for that game. I have a hard time seeing him play both of those. And then you have this Knicks team who just keeps on getting it done. No matter what happens, no matter who gets hurt, doesn't matter right now. 14-2, 13-3 against the spread since the trade. The last victim was the Utah Jazz. Dante DiVincenzo, 33 points in the last go-around. He's been playing great basketball these last 2 games. Going from a 4th option to a 2nd option now with Randall and OG both out. OG and Grimes, they're both questionable as well. So you have a lot of line movers in this game questionable. Between Halliburton and Anunoby, you could talk about a 5-6 point swing either direction. Really tough to give you guys too much more insight on this game other than that. The Knicks, they did get it done last year. They split 2 meetings in NY. And then Pacers, they beat the Knicks in Indy back in December. it's a lean to the Knicks. I don't want to go against the hottest team in basketball right now, especially if Halliburton is out, would be worth laying the points.
Yeah, it's Knicks or nobody to me, but again, all depending on the injuries. Now, Knicks just keep rolling. They lose Randall a couple of games ago. No problem. They keep rolling. OG, he's missed the last couple of games. Keep rolling. Excuse me. DiVincenzo stepping up, playing phenomenal alongside of Brunson. So let's see if they can continue that going tonight against Indiana. Again, as Ben said, you get Halliburton. He played the last game, limited in the last game at Boston after missing 10 of the previous 11. They go back home to play Sacramento. There ain't no shot this kid's playing in back-to-back games as far as I can tell. So I would think tonight's the night he sits out. If I know OG and Grimes are playing for the Knicks, I'm all over the Knicks, but it's Knicks or nobody. Knicks took a beating from the Pacers out in Indiana earlier this year, and they won 3 or 4 meetings last year. The fourth was the final game of the season. Indiana won that game at New York. That was a game the Knicks were pretty much already locked in, so I really don't count that much. Knicks tonight or nobody, would wait for the injuries and where the line's at.
Yeah, DiVincenzo, if you guys are interested in riding those props, he's hit him the last 2 games. 25-plus points tonight is plus 330. And if he gets 30 points again like he did in the last game, that is plus 1,000. So if you guys want to ride the hot hand while the Knicks have these injuries, could be some good prop play there with DiVincenzo. We got the Lakers and the Celtics. NBA Classic, of course. And, of course, the Lakers have AD and LeBron both questionable. But coming off that disgusting game at Atlanta, Davis didn't play in that one. That was really just a spot L that was in the schedule a little bit, especially once AD was ruled out. Who knows why they let LeBron play that game? I couldn't really tell you. You've heard John and I going rant about that a couple times this week. And then you have the Celtics team coming off a win there against Indiana. They didn't cover the number. 5-1, 2-4 against the spread their last 6. And they're just 3-7 against the spread their last 10 home games. They haven't covered any of the last 4. So this Boston team obviously dominant at home, 22-2. Not covering as many numbers right now, and they got a big one here with the Lakers. Looking at the over in this game for me, I mean, the Lakers have been screaming over, and for an older team, they play really up-tempo. What is it now? 7 straight overs, averaging 263 in the last 5. Obviously, the Celtics kind of live and die by the 3, and that kind of dictates the pace they play. But imagine here we get another high-scoring game. It would be over or nothing for me. And then we got to see, of course, what's going on with LeBron and AD.
Yeah, I mean, again, how can we give expert analysis not knowing if 2 of the top players in the NBA, besides just the Lakers, are going to play or not? And again, as Ben was saying, this is, some of these losses are attributed to the coaching and when to sit, when to play guys. And we said it yesterday, I believe. We talked about why we bet Houston against the Lakers earlier in the week. It was a spot for Ham to sit LeBron and AD just a day after the double overtime game against Golden State with the Hawks tomorrow. If you do that, they're ready to play the Hawks, then another day off, and they're ready to play Boston. Here it is. They lost the Houston game. They sit AD, they lose the Atlanta game. Both games absolutely blown out. And now we got both guys questionable going in to see the best team in the NBA. With that being said, as Ben said, Boston was 20-0 at home and had won their last 27 meetings till they lost to Denver. Since that time, they've lost to the Clippers, couldn't cover the Pelicans, and Pelicans had a lead in the fourth quarter. And Pacers gave them everything they could handle, and Halliburton wasn't at full strength. So all of a sudden, coming back to the pack a little bit, still the best team in the NBA, coming back to the pack a little bit, especially at home. Big number now, 12 points. To me, this number is made with these guys really questionable. If LeBron and AD are in, I'm taking 12 points and let the chips fall where they may against the Celtics, even though the Lakers are horrendous on defense this trip. Where's my number? A 1-2 on this trip, allowing 139 points per game. Little inflated by that double overtime win at Golden State.
Yeah, LeBron, I don't feel is this questionable is as serious. I mean, he always says Boston's his favorite place to play, and obviously we have some good matchups there, so we'll see if he gives it a go. AD, who knows if he's actually dealing with an injury, but both guys, a lot of minutes, a lot of games lately, so not out of the question.
I've got LeBron listed a legitimate questionable. This will be 4th and 6. And again, It starts with the double overtime in Golden State, 40-plus minutes, and then 37-plus both spots, Houston and Atlanta. So, look, I expect LeBron to play Thursday night basketball at Boston. You expect him there, but 30. I woke up this morning. I got out of bed. I was like a little slow. It just gets a little tougher. So we'll see what happens tonight. But yeah, if AD and LeBron are in, it's Lakers or nobody for me. Double digits. Even though Lakers haven't looked good, I hope for them to be able to respond now with a day off after the Atlanta beatdown.
And then we got Cavs at the Grizzlies. Cavs back-to-back. Get it done against the Pistons. Don't get the cover. Mitchell, solid game there. Mobley and Garland, obviously, they're both coming back from injuries. Don't expect them to be playing tonight. We'll see if that becomes official, but wouldn't expect them in. They played well without them, though, in that whole stretch. 18 games to go 14-4 without the two of them. We'll see if that continues now at Memphis, who is just – if you go look at the Memphis injury report, not just for tonight, before the season, they have a full 15 guys on that list. And now added, more and more role players keep getting added into the mix. Kennard and Zaire Williams, they're both going to remain out. They missed the last game. And then you have the other Williams and Konkar. They're both questionable who did not play. So who knows who they're going to be throwing out there. Alabama and Jackson, they've been trying to be your 1 and 2 options, getting some stuff going. We'll see if they can continue. Crazy thing is they're covered 5-0 against the spread their last 5 games. Haven't been great at home this season. And then as far as the matchup history with the Cavs, they each split last year. Memphis got it done at home. A lot of points here in this game for a Memphis team who keeps hanging within the numbers. So maybe you want to look at halftime with Cavs on a back-to-back. Maybe they get fatigued here, have a good first half. But it would be Memphis or nothing. Just want to see how many bodies we actually have in this game.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's Memphis or nothing. Look, Memphis they were horrible at home, but all of a sudden, the last couple of home games, they pick up a couple of W's. As Ben said, they've covered the last 5. It's an overlay right now against Memphis. This is what you're going to start seeing: your Memphis, your Pistons, your Charlotte, your dregs of the league. These are overlays, and that's what Cleveland is today. As Ben said, also Mobley. Just 2 games back since the injury. Garland, his first game last night. No way do I see these guys playing in a back-to-back, especially Cleveland has in their head. They played so well without them. But just 2-4 against the spread on no days rest. The Cavs 8. Remember, this Memphis team, best home record in the NBA last year. 8 points, even with all the injuries. It's Memphis or nobody to me. This is obviously counting Mobley and Garland out.
Last game on the slate, it's another injury game. We have a Joel Embiid who's going to remain out here for Philly. Obviously, he's dealing with that knee issue. We'll see how long that prolongs, how long he's going to be held out. Maxey, he's been banged up, missed 3 in a row. Is he going to go tonight? And then you have a couple of role players. Morris, he's doubtful, and Batum, he's questionable as well. So Philly really banged up on this trip right now. They're 0-4, 1-3 against the spread. You have this Utah team coming off that loss against the Knicks, and they were pretty rough on that trip. 2-4 on the trip. The only wins, Wizards and Hornets, so not an impressive trip by any means. But they've been great at home lately. 9-1, 8-2 against the spread. Their last 10 home games. Is it going to take a bit to get settled in after quite a long East Coast trip? Going to have to see. Jazz did win back in Philly in January, early January 6th. Embiid didn't play that game, so waiting to see what's going on here with Maxey, because that's kind of where this line is going to solidify. Utah right now, big number here, up to 5. I want it down a little bit lower if Maxey is in. But if Maxey ends up sitting, I mean, is this just going to be another little one of those it's very similar to what we saw with Dallas last night, just complete give-up game, and especially with the last game of a trip. So it would be Utah or nothing in my eyes. I would wait to see if you can get a better price if Maxey is in. And if he's out, I think it's a complete give-up game worth laying the worst number.
I think you're right, Ben. But I can tell you right now, line is literally moving as we speak, dropping down to 4.5. So we'll see if Maxey's in. If he is, that number will come down. Both teams scheduling a bad scheduling for this game. Philly, 5th and final game of 8-day trip. They've blown all 4. Philly had high hopes. All of a sudden, they've already sent Embiid home. He's not even with the team. They sent him back to Philly. He's getting an MRI. We're going to see what his situation is. Maxey, he's missed a few games. Will he even be up to speed if he gets back today? Batum also questionable. Remember, Batum, yep, a role player, but needed when the more guys that are out, you go deeper into that rotation. Utah coming back off a 6-game, 11-day trip. That's a mammoth trip. That's a long trip with only 1 day to get their rest. Their last 2 were ugly. The New Yorkers crushed them. They got buried in Brooklyn and beat up in New York. So they're coming back off 2 tough L's there. And I have to agree with Ben. If Maxey's out too, last of a trip, this is what we call the give-up game. This is what Dallas did last night. Just that number was already 13-14. We talked about it. They sat their entire starting lineup. This wasn't supposed to happen anymore this year, but as you guys can plainly see, the NBA cannot stop us. So Luka, Kyrie, Exum, Lively, and Derrick Jones Jr., all 5 sat out against the Timberwolves last night. We'll see what Philly does. Again, guys, it's injuries. By sitting or playing Maxey and Batum tells us, is this it? Is this just a pack it in game? When we have a pack it in game, you want to bet the other side. I know that the Timberwolves 13 line scared some people last night. They won by 40. I mean, it's just a pack it in game, and that's what we could be looking at with Philly here today. So Utah or nobody, again, depending on the injuries, that'll tell us where we're going.
Yeah, really tough stretch for Utah here. 3-game homestand, Philly, Milwaukee, OKC, and then they go at Phoenix after that. So they got a tough 4-game stretch. They were red hot for a while, struggled on that trip. We'll see how they do bouncing back here. As John said, guys, a lot of injuries out there. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for our Massa Edge members. We'll be updating you guys, and we might have a thing or two out for you depending on those injuries, depending on where those lines go. If anyone else wants those, make sure you sign up on the app or the website. Really, really big slate tomorrow. So make sure you guys come back in 1 o'clock Eastern. We're going to have a nice little Friday episode coming tomorrow and touching on some stuff for the weekend as well. And John, I don't know if we got anything else here, but short slate today. Let's see if we can get back on track.
Short card today. What I do want to tell everybody, if you do follow me on Instagram, you're going to want to follow Massa Edge. John Massa, which was my How to Beat the Bookie page, algorithms just didn't work for Instagram, so we just turned it into John Massa. Not because, as some idiots go and say, oh, he changed his name, he's hiding. I'm not hiding. They did not like the bookie name. We've tried everything.
You're hiding under your legal name.
we tried the blue check. We've tried everything. It just doesn't work. So we've got a new page. And that page doesn't even go off my phone, so my IP address and nothing touches it. Ben controls that page, but that's the page to follow for all our sports content, Massa Edge. So give that guys a look. And, we're on top of the lines. We'll be waiting for tomorrow's lines to come up. We're going to have the same problem. Just to give you guys a real quick look of why we might not be betting games today. Tomorrow you've got Paul George questionable for the Clippers. We've got for Toronto, the 3 starters are questionable. Poto, Quickly, and R.J. Barrett. Zion going to be questionable. He missed for New Orleans. Also, Herb Jones. OKC, we know Jalen Williams is going to be out. He's going to miss a couple of days. Ball's going to be questionable against for Charlotte. So these are some of the injuries. Denver, Jokic, 2-time MVP, didn't play at OKC. He's going to be questionable tomorrow. And so, again, we like to get ahead, but if they don't put a line on the game, we can't get ahead of those games. So we'll see how that breaks out. I anticipate a play on one of the games today. As of right now, we don't have a bet. If the line and the lineups, if it's a perfect storm, we'll have one, and we'll let you guys know about it.
Nope. As always, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe below, and hey, let's make some money.
Let's make some money.